Hello and welcome to Ryno's Orioles Report. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Shortened 3-game series because of the rain. Tuesday night's game was rained out to be made up in July. Why? Because Orioles have an off day Thursday. Blue Jays have an off day Thursday, which is today. Orioles are staying home for their next series. Blue Jays are going back to Toronto, so maybe that's what it is, though. Does it really take that long to get through Canadian customs or U.S. to Canadian customs or however that actually works? I guess. I mean, that's... Other than that, there's no reason. Why would you push it back? Could do it today, but I mean, however. I guess they think maybe they have more off days in July, but however, get to game one. Not a great way to start out the series, especially, now seeing that it was only a 2-game series. Toronto Blue Jays 3, Baltimore Orioles 2. This is final for 10 innings. Had to go through extra innings. Game from Camden Yards. Gunnar Henderson, 0 for. Rutschman, 2 hits, 2 RBIs, 2 runs. Thank God he's in a lineup. Yeah, I hate Brandon Hyde. Thinks that he has to have Rutschman in the lineup every single day. But given this series, he's not necessarily wrong. I wish somebody else could be as consistent and as, what's the word? Not only patient, but able to work the count deeper and hit well with 2 strikes. Not many players on the Orioles roster can say that. O'Hearn 1 hit, Mountcastle no hits. That's shocking. He usually kills the Blue Jays. Santander 0 for. Kowser 0 for, though he did work a walk. Westberg 0 for, though he did work a walk. Mullins 0 for, no surprise there. Really struggling. Mullins is really struggling. Mateo 0 for. Wow. 2 moves made before this game were Heston Kjerstad back down to the minors. Just wasn't getting a consistent playing time up here. Bring Kyle Stowers back up. Something I read in one of the articles. I think it was a Rock Kabako article. Could have been a Steve Molesky article, but it was the saying that if somebody's going to get Kyle Stowers treatment, it might as well be Kyle Stowers. And that's, you called up here, you're a budding prospect, and you're called up to the major league team, and you get 3 or 4 at-bats a week. But at the same time, one of the reasons why the move was made was Kyle Stowers can play the outfield. So if you have a struggling outfielder or multiple struggling outfielders like the Orioles do now, at least if you put Stowers out there, you're not necessarily hurting your defense, or at least not as much as if you would put Kjerstad out there. And Austin Hayes activated from the injury list prematurely, and we'll get to that in a second game, and I will probably go off on the front office here more than I ever have. And Ryan McKenna DFA'd. Out of options, McKenna DFA'd. And which is kind of adds to why I'm really pissed off about that move. But Austin Hayes and Stowers on the team here, even though they didn't get in the game at all. Which is disappointing, but it is what it is, I guess. Rutschman, home runs. 2 home runs. Good God. I don't know what it is about, maybe because it was only 2 games, but can somebody get a hit and drive runs in other than Adley Rutschman? I mean, is that, can y'all do that? Can y'all get some hits? 3 hits, 2 of them by Rutschman. It's like, oh, the outfielders are struggling. Well, they're all struggling. They all are. Did turn several double plays in this game, which helped out Corbin Burns a lot. And he needed help because Jose Barrios on the other side for Toronto, he was dealing. What some say the two better starting pitchers in the game right now. Barrios definitely one, maybe Corbin Burns, maybe closer to the fifth spot, and so let's say a top 5. Corbin Burns, 6 innings pitched, gives up 6 hits, the 1 run, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. It's not a bad line. It is somewhat concerning that only 2 strikeouts in 6 innings. Usually Burns is a little bit, he's going to give us more than that. But Toronto has a habit in this game of fouling off a lot of tough pitches. Call this team the foul ball Jays or something. That was terrible. Just stop. And I will. Craig Kimbrell comes in and relieves Corbin Burns. That's right. 7th inning appearance again for Kimbrell. Gets his 4th hold. Though I think maybe the 4th one of them may have been a blown save, but the Orioles were still winning at the time, so he got a hold. 1 full inning pitch, the 7th inning. No hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Well, I mean, if you can't do it in the 9th inning anymore, that's fine, I guess. Because if you can do it in the 7th inning, I'm kind of okay with that. Maybe we'll upgrade him to the 8th inning. Because as you can see here, Cano gets the 8th inning. Only gets 1 out in the 8th inning. Gives up a hit, a run, and 2 walks. Thankfully, this hit, which was a home run by Mr. Varsho. Were there men on? No, there were not men on. Thankfully, he hadn't walked people before he gave up the home run. However, Danny Coulomb comes in with the 2 runners on and shuts him down. 2/3 of an innings pitched, the final 2 outs of the 8th inning. No hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Jacob Webb in the 9th inning here. Okay. No, this was the 10th inning. Okay. Got me confused because he gave up a run. Jacob Webb does get the opportunity in the 9th inning, though it was already tied at this point. And I'm giving up the run in the 10th. So pitches a total of 1 1/3, the full 9th inning, and the first out in the 10th inning. Does pitch a clean 9th inning, but sadly gives up the ghost runner on a hit. Not ghost runner. I don't like calling it ghost runner. Jim Palmer likes to call it ghost runner. I don't really like to call it a ghost runner because there is a man out there. It's not like when you're a kid and you're on a sandlot and you only got enough for, a few batters and all the fielders out there. You just it's an imaginary runner. There isn't a body out there. That's why you say ghost runner. But now there is a runner. So it's the extra runner. Does give up a hit and a run scored. It wasn't an earned run since it's Major League Baseball placing a runner out there in extra innings. So no earned runs and no walks and no strikeouts. But does give up the lead. Keegan Aiken called on to relieve Jacob Webb in the 10th inning. So gets the final 2 outs of the 10th inning. No hits, no runs. Does walk a batter, doesn't strike anybody out. You don't like that he walked the guy, but didn't give up anything else. Jordan Ryno actually pitched the Toronto Blue Jays closer. Actually pitched the 9th and the 10th inning here and was able to shut the Orioles down both times, especially with that extra runner out there in the 10th inning. That really hurt. Orioles are just not able to move the guy over and get the guy in because. So you can see here, Mullins had 4 at-bats. Yes, 3 by Westberg and Cowser, but they worked well. So 4 at-bats, 4 at-bats, 4 at-bats, 3 at-bats. Mullins, Cowser, Westberg. Mullins were the last 3 guys to bats for the Orioles and just couldn't do anything. Very disappointing way to lose the game. Just offense It's like it's contagious. The outfielder started struggling. Now the rest of the team wants to struggle. Except for Adley Rutschman, which is weird. All right, so as I mentioned, Tuesday's game was rained out. This is Wednesday's game. Toronto Blue Jays 2, Baltimore Orioles 3. This was the one that started at 12:30. It's so weird. Very weird for me to get up that early to go to a baseball game. Like before 1 o'clock. It just seems so weird. Got there somewhat plenty of time. We got there, though. Very... didn't really get frustrating or piss me off until the end. Because it started out fantastic. I say the score. Toronto Blue Jays 2, Baltimore Orioles 3. This was the final in 9 innings this time. Thank God. Jordan Westburg. That's right. Jordan Westburg led off this game. Yusei Kikuchi, lefty, started this game for the Blue Jays. So Westburg being a righty, better matchup. Westburg's actually been hitting okay. Perfect time to see what Westburg can do in the leadoff spot. Something I've been asking for a long time. Somebody else to lead off. Rutschman can stay in the 2-hole. And he can bring Gunnar Henderson down. And it's like the reasoning is exactly what I wanted. So there hopefully are more people on in front of Gunnar Henderson. Not that Gunnar Henderson has been hitting that much recently. But Westburg did, guess what? Led the game off with a home run. Or, when the Orioles batted, led it off with a home run. 2 hits, an RBI, 2 runs scored. Did strike out 3 times, which isn't great, but 2 for 5 is fine with a home run. Rutschman, 2 hits, 2 RBIs, worked a walk, and scored once. Mountcastle, 1 hit, so at least he wasn't held hitless against Toronto, but really, Mountcastle? 1 for 8? Wow. When does that happen for Ryan Mountcastle against the Blue Jays? As I mentioned, Henderson, Ofer did work a walk. Santander, 2 hits. Sadly, part of the reason why I'm really pissed off is I read some of the articles and apparently they saw it a little differently than I did. Who was it? Mr. Star Wars, Bo Bichette, hit a ball to right field early in the game. Santander going back on it really didn't seem like he took a great angle to the ball. Had the ball carom off his glove right at the wall. And then it's like Santander tries to catch the ball, caroms off, and then he just runs in the wall. And really, it was the knee that led the impact there and took Santander a while to get up. The knee did, from what we heard in the postgame, did actually get progressively worse. And then turns out in the 8th inning, they're actually shifting way around to the right side of the field, keeping 2 people on the left and the right side of second base. Shifted around to the, towards the right side. And he just weak ass poke of a ball to just roll up there past third base and up the left field line. He was able to get in a second. It didn't look good, especially getting up from second base. I don't know why he was allowed to stay out there. I don't care what Anthony Santander wants. Not only after crashing into the wall, but the way he got up, no. Sometimes you got to protect people from themselves. That was one time that Brandon Hyde, you needed to do that, and you didn't do it. Because. I mean, you can see O'Hearn actually goes in there defensive replacement, so, okay, neither one of those guys are necessarily fast, but if Santander's got a busted knee, O'Hearn's definitely going to be faster. So you get a leadoff double. Yeah. They mentioned it in the article. Oh, like Brian Ebel was paying attention and Brandon Hyde was paying attention. From my vantage point, it didn't look. I mean, it looked like the second base umpire was paying more attention to the potential injury of Santander than anybody from the Orioles dugout. But I could be mistaken because, it started out really wet and rainy. Then the sun came out, having a couple natty bows. Possible I just missed it. But the umpire definitely called timeout, looked at the dugout like they were going to come out and talk to him about an injury. Didn't happen at all. Like, they didn't even go out there. Which, no, you can't do that. You know what? If you don't have enough outfielders on the bench, you know whose fault that is? It's either your GM's fault for activating Austin Hayes before he was ready to run. Yeah. Austin Hayes activated, but Austin Hayes not ready to run. He can hit, which, who gives a shit? Even though he did get hit in this game. You weren't bringing Austin Hayes up to hit. If he can't run, then he can't run. You'd rather have McKenna. It's like, what? Or maybe Brandon Hodge, stop rotating stupid-ass people in and out just because you like the lefty or righty matchup. Because then you got your starting right fielder out there rolling around in the dirt because his knee's banged up. You can't take him out of the game. Oh, and yes, what happened after this in the 8th inning? Mateo lays down a bunt because, of course, they won this game. But the lack of hitting here, they had runners in scoring position with no outs before early in this game, and they just weren't getting them across. They weren't even getting them over. You're not getting them over. They weren't getting them in. So comes that 8th inning. What do? Mateo, you're up next. Bunt, please. Wasn't able to bunt for a hit, but was able to move Santander over to third. Barely. Why? Toronto didn't challenge it, throw over there to third. It was a little decent bunt, right? Okay, maybe you get Santander out at third. Maybe. Now you got Mateo on the first base. You don't really like that because he's not going to be there for very long. So you're almost right back where you started. So might as well keep the guy out there that's hobbled instead of Mateo. Oh, and then here comes James McCann. I don't know what the hell. Everybody says McCann's a good bunter. I don't know what the hell happened in that first pitch. All I know, he's there trying to bunt, and it was almost like he was leaning forward too much and just lost his balance and fell on top of the plate. I could. Very weird. But it was called a strike, or they called it a swing, which really didn't make that much sense. I mean, even if you're kind of out here and you pull it back and then fall on the plate, how is that? How are you going to call that a swing? Or how are you going to call that a bunt attempt? It would. Whatever. Got more than one strike. He's still bunting. At this point, there's no surprise. Cowser might have walked before McCann. Possibly. I swear there was a runner in first and third. Actually, well, let's go to the play-by-play. It'll tell me who was on first base. There was somebody on first base. Right? Or am I just imagining this shit? Here you go. Santander double. Then, yes, Mateo sacrificed bunt. Cowser was intentionally walked, which was weird, but it worked. It worked out for him somehow. I don't know how. It just did. So here's McCann bunting with 2 strikes. Vlad Jr. charging in from first base. Somehow, in this little 4-foot bunt, I think Santander got in there, even hobbled. Hearn definitely would have been safe, but no, don't pinch run there. Honestly, I mean, there was a replay, but even in the replay, because apparently there was only one camera pointing down at the plate. Because if you get it where it's level, you can't see the plate because the plate doesn't stick up off the ground like the bags do. There's only one angle where it's pointed up over the plate. And of course, that one angle of the plate, it's obstructed by the umpire, which is why you have more than one camera pointed at the plate. So what the hell there? How do you not have more than one camera pointed at the plate? Because obviously, the umpire is going to be around there somewhere. No, that's okay. Just put one camera pointed at the plate. Bunch of dummies. Stupid people. So, I mean, there was McCann doing it on his own later. He knows the offense wasn't getting the runners over. They weren't getting them in, and he was hoping that Bunting would do it. Oh, I didn't read that article. Shit. Oh, well. Teo does get a hit some other time. Cowser hitting a walk. McCann a hit. Again, got a hit at another time. Well, I mean, with just... I mean, especially with Mateo bunting, like you can't just like push the ball over towards the right side. Harder for a right-handed hitter, I guess. Which, I mean, it is. Mullins over. Austin Hayes pinch hit late. Austin Hayes does get hit, which is great. Actually does get a double. But then Kyle Stowers has to pinch run. So Hayes apparently wasn't available to pinch run later in the game because, well, his leg's still messed up. Good job, Mike Elias. Brandon Hyde did kind of allude to that in the postgame. Like, well, actually, the morning that we activated him, his calf was still sore. Like, why activate him? Really, it's more on Mike Elias because that's usually who handles those decisions and those making those moves officially. Like, why was that move even made? Why? Piss poor communication, piss poor decision making. So Stowers has to go in and play the outfield, which is it's fine. But again, you just had to use two guys. You had Mullins in there, so you pinch hit for Mullins, and then you put a fielder in for Hayes because he can't play the field. It's three guys for one spot. Oh, and then later, because you love this lefty-righty matchup nonsense, Ramon Arias pinch hits for Stowers. Four guys for one position. Actually use all their position players. Right? Because you got the 9 in the lineup, then 10 with O'Hearn, 11, 12, 13. Use all your position players. I mean, and it's fine, but part of it is because you had to use an extra one because your idiots activated Austin Hayes. Oh, well, his leg's still messed up. He could have stayed on the injured list. There's no reason why he couldn't. Hell, the rehab assignments can last even longer. But you decided not to because, I don't know, why? Almost cost you the game. Luckily, as you can see, home run here. Yes, Westberg got the leadoff home run. Rutschman here hit a 2-run home run to walk off the game. Which is weird. Never thought Rutschman would take the place of Ryan Mountcastle and start being the Toronto Blue Jay killer. Mateo Santander, Hayes, doubles as well. That's for the extra base hits. That's about it. Kyle Bradish started this game. This is where when I mentioned Blue Jays fouling off a lot of pitches, this is where this comes in. So yeah, 4 innings pitched. Bradish threw 85 pitches. Lots of foul balls. Lots of foul balls. Just elevated the pitch count. 4 innings pitched, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, struck out 3. Which isn't terrible, except you couldn't pitch more than 4 innings. But thankfully, Orioles had an off day Thursday today, so could kind of empty the tank on the bullpen a bit. Jacob Webb gets an inning in relief. Yeah, seems kind of weird to be using Jacob Webb now, but why not? No hits, no runs. 3 walks. Yeah. 1 strikeout. Ciano Perez on in relief of Webb. 1 1/3 inning pitch, no hits, no runs, walked 1, strikes out 1. Mike Baumann, here's where I thought the game was just gonna, was gonna get away from us. Mike Baumann, this late in a tight game. It's like I said the last video. It's like Mike Baumann heard us talking about him. 1 2/3 inning pitched, no hits, no runs, no walks, strikes out 1. Okay. Coulomb took the ninth inning. Here was the pitcher record when Rutschman hit the home run. So Coulomb credited with the win. 1 full inning pitch, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. I mean, it works. By the hair on their chins, really. Well, and I totally forgot to read this article, but we'll skim it together, I guess. Article written by Rock Kubatko yesterday. Just really, I wanted to look at it and see what kind of update they're giving on Rodriguez or Wells. Another successful side session. Just the trending upward. That's about it. Oh, well, that's a little concerning. The trending on a little upward. It did say in there that Wells, they had gone and gotten Wells some tests. And it did say the club was unwilling to share the results. Which is okay. I mean, that doesn't sound good. That sounds bad to me, but like it sounds bad and they're getting a second opinion and that's why they won't share the results or didn't share the results or whatever exact term you want to use, why the results were not shared. We'll believe that the results were not shared, which leads me to think that, it's bad and they're going for a second opinion. It's disappointing, but it does seem like Rodriguez is getting back to it, but just haven't decided how to bring him back in yet. All right, so let's wrap this up, talk about the schedule, and we'll be done for this episode. As I mentioned, Thursday, today is off day. Friday starts a series at Camden Yards with the Seattle Mariners. 7:05 start time scheduled for Friday. Scheduled Saturday start time 4:05. Scheduled Sunday start time 1:35. So the next edition of Ryno's Orioles Report will be Monday. It will be in St. Louis, so I'll have a little bit extra time to get this video out. It's going to do it for this edition of Ryno's Orioles Report. Please subscribe to the channel. You'll be notified, especially for upcoming editions, like, say, the next edition, which will happen Monday. Please like the video. I am the Angry Ryno, and this is Birdland.